So let's get started. So, how are you all? So, you had a great New Year and the
Yes.
holidays.
Yes.
Thank you. So, did you follow any new year resolutions kind of thing? Do you believe in that, or do you follow?
Yeah.
Okay. Any New Year resolutions you want to share? Okay. Uh, At least I can share my New Year resolution, which I'm thinking of doing from 1st of January, is that I used to think of things every day, and then my brain used to forget and misinterpret what I was thinking on given that day. So I'm doing daily journal writing. I don't know if you do, any of you do that. I'm doing daily journal writing. I don't do it on computer. I do it on paper. It's intentionally I want to do it on physical paper because if you write, it connects to your brain more than typing it on computer. So I'm writing a journal every day, one page about what I'm thinking on given day, so that I can process my thoughts. Um so it's purely for the investing and the thinking, and I also would find out my own biases. We are talking about this biases, right? So we would also find out our own human biases. Brain has one more flaw. When you want to find out what you were thinking on, on given day or given time, it makes stories based on vague memories you had. So it always tricks you. Brain does that with all of us. So that's the reason it's recommended to write journals. So this is my New Year resolution. So let's see how it goes. I'll share by end of this year how I'm doing. So far, I did well, but there is one statistics from the New Year resolution point of view. By end of January, all the New Year resolutions, 80, sorry, 90, above 90% people stop doing whatever the New Year resolution that they took. Doing daily exercise. I don't want to eat more sugar. All these New Year resolutions, by the end of January, they will above 90% would not do that in February. By midsummer, it's only less than 0.5% people would be doing it. So if you have any New Year resolution, and if you are doing by mid of summer, then you have to treat yourself. You are one of the exceptional people in the world. So this is one statistics, and that's another reason. If you see the ads in YouTube or anywhere, from the mid of December till first week of January, you see lot of fitness ads, because they know fitness companies like we have many companies in Denmark, right? Fitness companies. They know people in December usually go for newer resolutions, and then they know by end of January, 98% will drop out, and then they'll make money out of them, right? So that's a trick fitness people uses, because they knew this is something. Uh, so this is something. Human behavior. Another trick fitness companies does is in January they give lot of discount. They say if you pay for 1 year, you get a discount. Literally, they know that 90% of people who took the membership, they would not show up after 1 month. So they make money from all the people who are excited about New Year resolution, and then they register for a fitness training program or fitness. gym, and they pay for 1 year, but then after 1 month they would drop off, and by mid of summer it's only 0.5%. So this is interesting to know. This is a human behavior again. We tend to have this new year resolutions, but above 90%, 99.5% people give up their new year resolution by the time they reach summer. Last year, you have a question?
Yes. I have I promised myself that I will not eat chips for a whole year.
Oh, wow.
So,
Let's
yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm also writing my own journal from January 1st.
Oh, wow. So I have one of accompanying person whom we
Yeah,
can, see how you are doing and what are the
I just
flaws you found.
I just don't hope I forget to write something.
Okay, good. That's good. So this is also human nature. Just you remember about this statistics. You can also search it in Google. You will find the statistics about the New Year resolutions, and it's also human behavior. And people around us try to milk money out of us due to this human nature, especially fitness groups. I've seen this pattern for a couple of years, especially in Denmark. In December, anything you are watching in YouTube, if you don't have paid subscription, you get a lot of fitness advertisements, and then January they're gone. And I know some of my friends, they got excited and took 1 year subscription, then they realized they made a mistake, they could not continue. So okay, so that's just know about this new year resolutions and how our human brain get excited, any new year beginning, and by the time end of January many of us would lose our track of it. It's so this session I'm I'm planning to cover two emotions that we have. So what are we doing in these sessions? From last couple of sessions, we started talking about human biases. We as a humans, we evolved, our brain evolved over millions of years, and along with the evolution of human brain, we also got some biases. So you can't say them they are flaws, but they are part of human evolution. So you need to be aware of those biases, and first thing is awareness of the biases. Second thing is build the tools to overcome those biases. So this is what we are doing. Why we are doing this in investing our financial education class? Because investing and financial handling is more of an emotional game rather than skills. Even if you have a IQ of 180, more than 130, it won't help you to get you better returns or better investing person. It is more of emotional game. So 95% emotions, 5% IQ or skills. So that's how this game of financial and investing world works. Hence I want you to take you to the journey of human biases, because we all are humans. We have brain has emotions, and we all fall trap of those emotions. So that's something we need to be aware. Hence I'm taking this sessions on human emotions. We covered a few of the emotions before. You can look at the sessions. Last 3 4 sessions we were covering Massimilo test and social comparison bias, so and so. I would urge you to look through it. And this week I took two emotions. Greedy is the new emotion we are talking. The second one is social comparison, which we already covered. So I am taking one of the story, one of the book I read during the holidays, and it's about Prashant Desai. He started a Indian sports brand, and he wrote his venture failed eventually, and he wrote a book, the biography of failed venture. You know, what went wrong with his venture, and my interpretation of reading this book from the human emotions point of view, I got 2 points: greediness and social comparison bias, which actually um, uh, um, failed Prashant in his venture as well as in overall life. And I appreciate Prashant writing this book because very few people writes failure stories. It's also human nature. We all tell about our success. We never share our failures. So you could also see that from your own thing. We don't celebrate failures. We celebrate success. Whole society, schools, everything is built around celebrating success, but celebrating failure is also thing that we should do time to time, and very few books are written on failures, and hence I chosen this book to read during holidays, because I am more interested in failures than success, because I don't want to do the same mistakes other people has done in their life. At least I want to learn from others mistake. So that's my self interest why I picked up this book, and then we will go through two emotions based on my interpretation of reading this book. And then we will see how these two emotions basically failed Prashant is in his venture. Okay, so before we go to this two emotions, I would urge or recommend to read biographies or autobiographies. Okay, do you know the difference between biography and autobiography?
Yes.
What is it?
Autobiography is when you write it yourself,
Yeah,
and biography is when some other author has written about this person.
yeah, that's perfect. Yes, exactly. So you need to read biographies and autobiographies. Autobiographies, as Siri, right? Yeah, Siri mentioned autobiographies is somebody who written by themselves their own autobiography, right? That's a person writing. If you see all these books I have here, it's all written by somebody else. You see common name Walter Iscon. He's the author and he wrote many biographies. You can disable the video. I'm doing recording. I don't want your faces to be shown. So please, okay. So I suggest all of you. This is my hobby, and I also recommend all of you read biographies and autobiographies. And I mentioned few of those names here. Benjamin Franklin. I recommend his biography. It's very interesting biography. How this guy lived his life and how he thinks through the things. The reason and selfishness of me reading biographies and autobiographies, and I also recommending to you, is because you will learn a lot from this people's daily behaviors, how they handle things, how they have evolved as a humans over their lifetime. So you can learn from others. You don't need to do the same things, and you can get the good things as well as bad things, right? So that's so I would recommend this Benjamin Franklin, Charlie Munger's book, Almac, and Steve Jobs. You may be using iPhones. So he was the Apple founder, Steve Jobs. He has very interesting story. You should read his not autobiography, biography. And Einstein biography also interesting, and Leonardo da Vinci biography also very interesting. I read all of them, and I would also urge you to read. Um, and especially Steve Jobs, you would be surprised when you read his autobiography how this guy has lived his life. So I would, and I also gave one link here. Steve Jobs gave a speech at Stanford. I would also recommend you to watch this video. In this video, one idea that Steve Jobs shares is connecting dots. So that's also what we are doing in these sessions. I'm sharing ideas in each session, and after some time, we connect all these dots to show you, real life, how things would evolve, in a life, investing life. So we talked about compounding, we talked about rule 72, we talked about many ideas in last 30 sessions. So those are the dots I am making right now in these sessions. Then one day, either you connect the dots or I would try to connect the dots for you and showcase some examples. So connecting dots is one of the important idea. We would sometimes do things we don't know what we would be using, but one fine day we would realize they are all connected, interlinked. So you would realize that. So I would also recommend you to watch Steve Jobs' Stanford speech. It's not more than 10-15 minutes. Okay, so if you if you are planning to buy books this year, try to include biographies and autobiographies. It need not to be this list. Whoever is a famous model for you, then you can pick their biographies or autobiographies, like APJ Abdul Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi. There are many famous people. You could pick their biographies and autobiographies and start reading it. When you read biographies, autobiographies, you will actually live their life. You will see how they have grown up, how they evolved as a person, and then how they became famous, how what are the things they suffered over the life, and how they ended their life. So you are actually seeing a person life from birth till death. So that's very interesting uh, in these books, biography and sometimes some of the facts are sugar coated in those books, but 60 to 80% are truth. You always have sugar coated in life, right? 20 to 30%, which you don't need to count. Okay, so that's a bit about biographies and autobiographies. And second, I just want to show you one video. You don't need to pee on electric fence to know to experience how the shock. So it's the same idea. You don't need to do the same mistakes what other people has done. Hence, we should learn from others' mistakes. So I want to show you this video so you feel uh, how these two crazy guys. I'm guessing this is somewhere in Russia, and then they try to pee on electric fence. Yeah. So so you don't need to do that mistakes. You don't need to pee on electric fence to get shocked, because you know that it's a nature. So you don't need to do the same mistakes like other people has done their life. So you can learn from others' mistakes. Okay, let's go to Prashant Desai. So this is a real story. He wrote this book, and I want to briefly explain how he has grown up, and then how he built these emotions, greediness and social comparison. How he imbibed these two emotions during his life. Maybe imbibed is the right word. So so this guy, he grown up in Calcutta, and his father was a banker. He was a bank manager. He was well established person, but then his father died at age of 35, 36. So so then he lived all his childhood life and adulthood life whole without father. And his mother, she was running the family with pension amount and whatever the money that his father has saved. So they were giving that money for interest, and then they were making money. They were living on the interest amount, whatever they've been getting from the amount that his father has saved. So basically, when he was growing up, he always want to become rich because his all uncles and his extended family, they were all living well off. So he always want to make more money. So somehow he got this emotion from the childhood due to his circumstances that he want to be greed. He wants to make money in his life. That's one emotion he got. The second emotion he got was when he was celebrating Calcutta. Dasra is a famous festival, and every festival, his uncles or somebody else were sponsoring, clothes and all the things, because he doesn't have a father, and they were not well off in. So, and he always compared himself with others, right? And then he saw other kids, and he always compared, and he built this social comparison instinct in his brain. He was always comparing with others. So that's two emotions carry forwarded in his career. But greed is an emotion. I think you all probably experience this emotion. Can anybody tell what is greediness? What is greed? Okay, greediness, especially we see this in our, at least from kids. So you ate one chocolate, you want to have one more chocolate, and you want to have full bowl of chocolates, right? And you ate one biscuit, your favorite biscuit, and you want to eat more of them. So you all of a sudden fall into this, that I want more of it. Mm, mm, it's the same. You started playing a game, and you agreed with your parents. You want to play for 1 hour or 2 hours. Then you want to more. You try to convince your parents, I want 1 more hour, 1 more hour, 1 more hour. So then you all become greedy. One point of time, then you would say, I want to play, whole evening, right? So that's from the kids life. Well, Lasse, you have a question?
Well, when you're greedy, you're not happy for what you get.
Yeah, that's also true. When you are getting it, you don't feel that, but once you realized after you got it, you feel you are not happy about whatever you got,
You, you don't feel like it's more than enough.
Yeah, that's true. So that's in kids life. In adults life, we are greedy about whatever materialistic life we fall into, right? I want a best of best car, I want a bigger houses, I want best clothes, or I want to make more money. There is no end to how much money you want. You always want more, right? So that's also greediness that people in adult life, you see. And I see this in my own life, time to time. Even people are well off, they try to make more money, and then in the process they try to sacrifice their health, which I don't understand, but that's I see how people are doing. They are sacrificing their health and family in the process of making more money, even though they had enough money. So it's I feel it's more of greediness, and it's all over, all around us. And so this is one of the emotion which you need to check yourself time to time. Are you become greedy about something, and where is the point where you should say that I need to stop, and I should not fall into this emotional trap. So let's quickly watch this video that explains the greediness.
It is a natural consequence of one's orientation to their possessions. A greedy person will never have enough of anything and will never be content with what they have, despite the amount. Greed is mental based, even though it's being treated through material and physical, meaning outside things. Due to inner emptiness, boredom, and loneliness, there is no saturation point. Feelings are hardly fixed or replaceable with anything material. A greedy person is someone who isn't able or isn't willing to control themselves. They want everything they like or find interesting right now. Simply, they want to have everything, own everything, and be everything. The fact that this is actually impossible in literal sense, those people find it all just not enough, which makes them dissatisfied in the long term. A well-known saying is, where greed arrives, happiness leaves. Greed, or being a greedy person, is not just a character trait, it's also one's relation to people in life. A greedy person sees others and what they have as a potential catch. Their mentality is of a predator, always calculating how to use others. A greedy person always competes with others in owning things that they consider as their natural belongings, something that they should have but accidentally didn't. They'd usually justify that greed is being better than others, hence having the natural right of owning something that's currently not theirs. Different myths confirm that greed is negative through history and existence of society. In ancient Greece, there is a myth about a greedy king Midas who asked from gods to give him the ability of turning anything he touches into gold. After turning his daughter into a golden statue and realizing she will die of hunger, Midas regretted. Always remember, there is a sufficiency in the world for man's need, but not for man's greed.
So that's about greediness, right? There is a great saying in this video: once you become greedy, then happiness leaves from your life. So this is something we need to be aware. And let's look at Prashant life from his own book, how this greediness um, uh, killed his venture. So it's not his personal life. We are talking about his venture, right? So he, as I told you, he's Prashant, and he grown up in Calcutta, and then he was, as I told you, he was not having enough money when he was growing up, so he always wanted to make more money when he grow up, and his ambitions lead him to a profession where he made good money. So in his whole 30 years life, so he started working when he was 21. By the time he was 51, he made around 30 million Danish krone. So it's around 30 crores in Indian rupees. But when at time of working, when he was working in his professional life, he worked for Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. This is the guy, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. He's a famous investor from India. His net worth is around $6 billion. So around yeah, uh, 42,000 crores, 42,000 millions. So he, so he worked. Prashant worked for Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. He is doing business analysis and presenting him ideas to buy businesses. So Prashant been invited to all the parties that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala arranged. Okay, so Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, you need to remember, he is one of the famous investor and he has a lot of money, and he arranges the party because Prashant works for Rakesh. He also gets invite. When Prashant goes to the parties, he see the people in the parties. They are all talking about millions. They're all talking about a lot of money, which Prashant fall into social comparison bias, because he had this instinct from childhood and it has built over the years, and now he is comparing himself. Hey, comparing to these guys, I'm so poor. Even 30 million what I have is nothing in front of these guys, because these guys, they trade every day 100 million, 30 million, more than my total net worth. So he fall into the trap of social comparison. And at the age of 51, um, he want to venture into a business where his goal was to make 30 million to 200 million or 200 crores. That was his goal. He wrote that in book. So he does not started a business to solve the real customer problem or to solve the real world need. He started business purely to get rich. That's another thing. Whenever you start something just for the sake of money, there is a high probability that you would not make money, because you are always looking after money. Then you would not focus on the real problem you are trying to solve for a business or customer. So this is one thing. So now you see the connectivity. So he had a social comparison from his work life. He's been invited to the parties where he saw people always talking millions of crores or crores of rupees in Indian rupees every day. And then he realized, he fall into social comparison. Hey, I want to become like these guys, and I want to do something big in order to make 200 above million. That was his goal. He wants to make, he actually had a timeline in 10 years. I want to convert 30 million to 200 million. That was his goal. And then he was looking for ventures. So he has this goal in his mind, and then he was looking for ventures. How can he convert 30 millions to 200 million? So here I have a question. If you remember, um, rule 2072, if, what could have Prashant done without venturing into any business if he had 30 million? Um, did you remember? So he could have invested into index funds. If you remember, we talked about index funds, and index funds gave 15%. Then he would have made, every 4.8 years, he would have doubled his money. So by the time 10 years, he would have made two doubles, that is 30 to 60, 60 to 120, 120 million. Uh, do you follow my thought process? So let's
Yeah.
assume you are Prashant Jain, Prashant Desai, and you have 30 million in your hand. You have been given option. You can go ahead and start a sports business, a shoe business, compete with Nike and Adidas, or you go and put it in index fund. So for example, I took the statistics of the HDFC index fund from India, and I looked at the overall returns. So all the time. So for 10 years, it's 14.83%. So that's the return. So if we round figure this to 15%, so he would have gained 15% return for 10 years. So if it is 15%, I don't know if you remember rule 72. So let me show you. So it's on slide 70. So if we go to slide 70, so this is the rule 72. So time equal to 72 divided by rate of return. So we know the rate of return 15% from the fund, and let's calculate how much time Prashant would have taken to double his money. So let's see. So I have a calculator here. So 72 divided by what is the rate of return? So 15. So 14.83. I round figure it to 15. So if we had 30 million, and if we put it in simple index fund, then this is year time. So 4.8 years, he would have doubled his money. So, and his goal was to make, if you remember what was his goal was to make 200 million in 10 years. Now let's see. So if he doubles his money every 4.8 years, how much 30 million becomes after 4.8 years?
60 million.
Yes, 60 million. If he just invests in index fund and forgets about it. But then after 4.8 years, next 4.8 years, how much it will become? 60 becomes
120
One-
million.
120. And then how many years he finished so far? 4.8 plus 4.8. So he finished only um, 9.6. So he's still left with 4 months, whatever. So in 10 years, he would have made 120 million. And this is something, you need to remember when you're being given with options, which option I'm choosing, what is the risk factor. In case of Prashant, he was taking the high risks because he was in rush to become he was in rush to make his 30 million to 200 million. But is 30 million is not enough for a person to live his life?
It is more than enough, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's more than enough. When if you remember the 4% rule we talked in one of the session, based on our calculation, even if you spend to 20,000 to 25,000 every month, 10 million is more than enough for your lifetime. If you invest in index fund, that's the 4% withdrawal rate we talked before summer holidays. So 10 million is more than enough for a person to live his life happily. And Prashant had 30 million in his hand, and this is the hard earned money for last 30 years of his life. And when he was 21, he was energetic and he has a lot of you know energy. But when you become 51, would you have same energy as when you are 20s and 30s?
No.
No. So that's also something one has to remember, what stage of life we are in, what kind of risk we are taking. So 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 then this is pure greediness, right? Greed is okay. Some point of time, I believe greed made Prashant 30 million. Otherwise, he would have made only 5 or 6 million because he was a greed. But become greediness, want to make 30 to 200 million. That was a pure greediness. He could have lived happily. He was into stock market investing. He worked for Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. He know how people, what is long term investing. He knows, he is not somebody who doesn't know mutual, index funds and other things. He knows those. He was from the same area. He was not kind of scientist, or he was not an engineer. He was a finance guy who knows these tools. But he was in this greediness emotion, and he wants to build his money net worth very fast by starting a venture. So this is something you would see time to time around you. People doing crazy things, even though they are well off. Can anybody tell me anything multiplied by zero is what?
Zero.
Zero.
Yes. So it's exactly the same, right? If you try to do something, and if you lose everything, and then you lose everything, right? So y- so that's also something people forget. They try to do risks in their life. I'm not against any adventure sports, but I'm telling any of those sports, if you, even if it is very low probability that you would lose life, but still, is it worth, even if it is low probability? So it's the same with finance and money. People do these crazy things, and So this is the two emotions. Greediness is something you need to watch out and see. Are you becoming too greedy? You should always say that, is it enough? Or at least the other thing that Prashant could have done is he could have parked 10 million into index fund and played with his 20 million. That way you are still keeping your entrepreneurship, and you want to do. Some people have this dream, I want to start my own company. But even if that is the case, if I am Prashant, you could have I could have done, park 10 million into index fund and play with 20 million. If I make more, that's good. If I lose, I'm not losing my shit, right? Or pint. So that's something one should always check. Is ego. This is another emotion, ego. I would cover this in next session. Ego, jealous, and envy. These are another three emotions we all fall trap of, and that's also something I would cover in the next section. So he had a ego. He wants to put all his money because he wants to make most of it. He actually partnered with another investor, and he could have given more share to other investors. If you partnering with other, you can give more percentage. I invest 30%, you invest 30%. Let's bring another person who could invest. So basically, you are sharing risk in the process. But he was greedy and egoistic. Hence, he doesn't want to share more profit because he was so confident on his venture, and he put all his money into this single venture. So there are many flavors one can extract from this failed venture. This is few of them that I extracted. So this is something greedy. So you see in different angles how greedy he was, and social comparison also made him to fall into this trap of, he wants to make more. What if he compared with somebody who had less money than him? Then he would have never fall into the trap. Social comparison can be done both ways, right? You can compare with people who has more than you, and you can also compare with people who has less than you, right? So it has two angles. And if you compare with people who has more than you get unhappiness, and you feel that you don't have something. But when you compare with people who doesn't have whatever you have, then you feel more happy. Hey, I'm better off than these people, and I should be happy with whatever I have. So this is two side view, right? Social comparison itself is not bad, but it all depends on what you are comparing with. That's so this human emotion psychology, there is no right and wrong answer. It's always in between. It's always how we are thinking through the things. Okay. So this is I guess you would understand how we are connecting the dots. So when Prashant got 30 million when he was 51 years old, he could have invested in index fund, which we talked in one of the session, and he could have calculated easily how he can double his money using rule number 72. That's a basic rule in finance world, and he's aware of those all rules. But a emotion dominated then the mm, thinking brain. Heart versus brain, right? We always say that, are you emotional or are you logical, a rational person? That's another word, rational. Are you thinking rational or are you thinking irrational? So irrational thinking comes from the emotions. I have emotions, I want to fulfill these emotions, and thinking does not fly in. But the people who are rational person or thinking with the brain, they do they don't think through the heart. They think through the brain. They always think through the numbers. Okay. So social comparison, as I explained, he was working for Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has this company called Rare Enterprises. So he was an analyst at that company, and he was recommending businesses for Rakesh to buy in. and in return he used to get a commission. Okay. And Rakesh, because he was the employer of Rare Enterprises, Rakesh owns this company. He invited Prashant to all the parties. And then during these parties, when he talks to the people, and they are always talking big numbers, I did a trade of 100 million today and I made a profit of 2 million or whatever, then he fall into this social comparison. He is comparing with the people who has more than him versus comparing with the people who has less than him. That's another thing. um, this is a direct extract from the book. He Prashant wrote himself based on his lessons. So 20 crores, whatever the money he had, would have probably been enough for me to last a lifetime, given my lifestyle and everyday needs. He himself realized this is after math effect, after he done the mistake and after he lost all the money. This is what he is writing in his book, saying that, hey, if I just kept that money, I would have been well off. But I was, in his next sentence, I was interested in obsessity of wealth. He wants to become more wealthy. In other words, to show off. This is another thing. Show off. We see this a lot. At least in India, many people, when we go to social functions, marriages, and there is a lot of show off that happens. It's a psychological trap. Um, but this is what happens with a show off is a common term, but technical term is a social comparison bias from the psychology. So because somebody showing off, we fall into the trap, and then we fall into the social comparison bias, and then we want to become like them, and in the process we lose our own identity, and we also lose our own goals, and we also lose our own whatever we had before. So this is again, this is from this book. If you are interested, you could read it. This is not a fat book. It's a small 200-page book, but this is the two emotions, and this is some actually the shoes, the way he made and the branding he did really great. So if, for example, he had a sponsorship from Anil Kumble and Farhan Akhtar. He's a producer and a film actor. So he had everything that a business can have. He had a great brand. Let's see the ad, one of the ad from his own business. This is a shoe
आपको
that
टाइम नहीं मिलता
is one of
अब
the
टाइम बना
cricketer.
लेते हैं
Yeah.
आप कल से आओगे यहाँ और हम आज यहाँ हैं कभी आप फिट थे हम हमेशा फिट रहेंगे
Here to defy the everyday.
देखने से ज्यादा मजा हमें कर दिखाने में आता है गेम ऑन
So yeah, it was a shoe sports accessories making company. They had tie up with Chinese and Chinese manufacturers, and they had a design from US designers who designed the shoes, and everything was great. But uh, Prashant accepted he was in rush. He don't want to grow his business gradually. He was in rush to become wealthy. Hence, he did so many mistakes in the process, and the summary is he lost all his wealth. Basically, business bankrupted, and now at the age of 52, he is coming back and working in companies as an employee to you know make back. Uh, but when you are above 50, you would not have the same energy, right? So, but he is doing good. But this is something he is now into venture capitalist funding. So because he failed businesses, he know when he look at any new business, when any venture capitalists want to invest in this new business, then he could see the flaws because he learned his lessons, right? He would tell how this entrepreneur is thinking, how what things can go wrong. So he's been hired into this venture capitalist firm where he would be reviewing the new businesses and investing into new businesses and taking them to IPO, initial public offering. So he's doing good, but this is just to show you a greediness and social comparison can, what can it do for a business and a person wealth. So this is a story I want to share this week, and I want to take these two emotions which I have extracted from this book. I thought would be interesting, and then also teach you whether greediness and social comparison, how they could influence one person life. So social comparison and greediness was always there with his character, is inside, and he was always doing the social comparison. If you remember, when he was kid, he was comparing with his uncles and cousins, and when he grown up into professional, he was comparing with friends of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, and so social comparison was also always there with him. And sometimes it's people should know their emotions, and then they should also need to uh, see whether they are falling into the trap of this psychological emotions, and then they should check mark them time to time. So any questions anybody has? Are you been greedy anytime? And did you fall into social comparison traps? I used to fall into these traps 8 9 years ago. Actually, sometimes I still fall into them, but I then recognize, okay, I'm falling into this social comparison, so I need to watch out. I I told you the tool last time for social comparison. You always compare yourself from yesterday's to today or last year to this year. Don't compare with others. Everybody has their own um, mm, rhythm, or everybody has their own way of doing things. So don't compare. Another way to avoid social comparison, I guess I gave you two tools last time. In another way to avoid social comparison is don't compare only one angle of the person. Maybe you are comparing, hey, that guy has a Ferrari, or he has a lot of money, but look at all his other life. Does he have good friends? Does he has great family? Does he have loving relations? And if you see, if he doesn't have all other things, and when you are comparing with him, would you take his position, would you take his role, or would you take his all his life, whatever the life he has gone through? Then you would immediately realize, no, 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 I am happy with my own life. I don't compare only one angle, compare all the angles. Then soon you would realize, no, no, I don't want that life. If you ask me to take whole life of him, just to get a Ferrari or just to get some wealth. I don't want, because I'm happy with my, whatever family and other things. So these are the tools. I build it myself. Uh, um, Whenever I'm realizing I'm falling into social comparison trap, I would bring these two tools. If I'm comparing with that person, would I like to have his life? Then immediately 100% of time I would get answer no. And the second thing is, I don't want to compare with others. I want to compare for myself from yesterday's to today, or last week to this week, or last year to this year. That way I'm checking this social comparison bias. You could use the same tools. Suppose when you are in school, somebody doing better than you, you don't need to fall into the trap. You compare yourself from yesterday's to today. Did you did better? What are the gaps you have? Whatever, improvements you need to do, did you find those improvements? Are you working on improving them? That way you don't fall into this trap of social comparison, then wasting time on thinking and following into it's emotional, emotionally waste of time. We would be wasting our brain power falling into this trap, and then we would be losing control of our thing. So this is most important in investing life, because somebody else always would be making more money than you. When you are starting investing journey, you should not fall into social comparison, and you should not be greedy. You should have a number. You decide the number and say that I would work my ass off to reach that number. Once I reach that number, I'll take it easy, because life is not about all money, right? We have other things to do. So that way you are checking your greediness. Are you becoming too greedy? Then you would check it yourself. Hey, I want to reach this number. After this number, I don't care. So that's the two things you could build. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, Hari, just add on to this. So when we compare with others, like in terms of knowledge, if we can compare with others, then we know that yeah, still there are a lot things we can need to know instead of just feeling that I know everything. So that's where we have a scope of improvement there. But when we come when in terms of money, if you compare with those who don't have much, then we feel like happy with what the amount we have. Like we are content with whatever we have. So just in another dimension, I'm kind of trying to see things.
Yeah. So next week I will cover ego, jealous, and envy. This is most dangerous emotions of human brain, and let's see. I try to explain them, but these are the three most emotions we would not be overcoming in life. So we need to watch out, and because we will fall into those without even knowing it. So let's cover ego, um, jealous, and envy next week. Okay, those are the three emotions we'll call. Okay, with that, let's close here, and I wish you a good weekend, and let's talk next week.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Hari.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.